we started with pandas, and we look at various ways in which we can actually we look at various ways in which we can read in our CSV or reading our Excel sheets, filtering it, and we look at how we can bring out a column, a row, and the likes. So this week, next week, hopefully we are going to have it on YouTube directly. And of course, this will also be uploaded to my YouTube channel. So as I'm speaking, if you have any question, just put it on the chat box. But this week, we want to look at data cleaning in Python. How do we clean data in Python? And that is what we want to look at. Data cleaning in Python. That's what we want to look at this evening. So let's read in our CSV. So we say import pandas as PD and df equals to, so I have my what we want to use, the data we want to use, I have it in my directory already. So PD read CSV, then the name of the data is messy data dot CSV. So let me output my CSV now. So this is the data. So, and this is the data we want to clean. So how do we clean data in Python? How do we clean data in Python? So first of all, we deal with duplicates. So duplicates, that is that is columns that have duplicates. So how do we deal with columns that have duplicates? So we can drop those duplicates. So to drop duplicates, we are going to say that, let me call it df number of duplicates equals to df dot drop duplicates. So there's a function that is known as drop duplicates. At least last week, you know that when we are representing a function, there's a close and an open bracket. So this drop duplicates is a function in Python. So what I'm saying here is I have called this table, which is also a data frame, I have called it df. So what I'm saying here is df, that is this table, drop all the duplicates in this table. So now let me now run it and see the duplicates that it has dropped. So if there are duplicates, it would have dropped it, but it looks like in this data there are no duplicates, and that's why that's why this was repeated. Now, if I want to know the number of missing values, if I want to know the number of missing values, so I want to check the number of missing values, in this data. So the number of missing values in the data sets. If I want to check the number of missing value in the data set, so let me call it df null equal to, so there's a function that is known as is null. So I'm going to say that is null and put it into brackets, dot sum. So I want to know it in each of the columns. So it's going to show me each of this column. Now, in this column, we have name, email, phone, age, and address. So it's going to show me each of these column, how many missing numbers that are there. So let me now print df null. So now, as you can see, for names, there are 975 names that are missing. We have 10,000 records. So that means that for name column, that is for name records, there are 975 that were missing. For email is not missing any column at all. Email is not missing any column at all. For phone number is missing 988. For age is missing 5,096. For address is missing 1,025. So if I want to drop the missing values, how do I drop the missing values? So if I want to drop the missing values, but like I used to tell you, you don't drop missing value. If you are dealing with missing value, you don't drop it when you are working in an organization. You fill them in. You fill in those missing values. You fill them in. So, but let's assume you want to drop missing value. So there's a function that is known as drop now. So df dropped. So this is to drop missing value. Dropping missing values. So equal to df dot drop now. So this drop now is a function that is used to drop missing value in Python. It's a general function that is used to drop missing value in Python. So when you print this, now look at it. It has dropped to 3,558. And here, the original data is what? 10,000. So that has dropped. So, like I said, you don't drop missing values. You fill them in. And how do you fill them in? So you need to contact your stakeholders. When you're working in an organization, you need to contact your stakeholders that, okay, we have the following missing values in age, in phone number, and the likes. And so let's assume we want to fill in some missing variables in this data. How do we go about it? So we want to fill in, for example, in age now, we want to fill the age, the missing value in age, with the mean. So if we want to fill the missing value of age with the mean, how do we go about it? Remember that last week, if I want to call out a column, I said that it's going to be df and a square bracket and a quote, then I have age. So dot fill now. So the fill now is a function in Python that is used to fill. So then into brackets df, then for that column age, dot mean, then of course you know what a mean is. Mean is a function. So it's also a function in Python. So then comma, then we need to introduce a function which is known as in place. So what this in place does is that it ensures that each of those columns were filled correctly. It ensures that each of those columns, they are filled correctly. So let me run this now. So let's now check DF out. So you can see that it has already filled in the age. However, when you check the age, when you check the number of missing value that we checked here previously, so let's check the number of missing value again. You will see that age will now become 0 because we have already filled it in with the main. So if I say DF null now, so as you can see, it's now 0. It's no longer there again. 0. If you look up here, previously it was 5096, but because we have filled it in, it has absolutely changed. Keep writing your question. Keep typing your questions. I will go over them as soon as I'm done with what I want to teach you this evening. So it has filled it in with our mean. If we want to fill it in with median, so all that needs to change is just for us to come here and change this to median and run it. Then it's going to fill it in with our median. So let's continue. How do we fill in age? I mean name rather. Now name is different from name is a string. The first lecture I taught you different data types in Python. Name here is a string. So how do we fill in the names, the unknown names? How do we fill them in? We have 975. So let's assume that we want to fill the unknown names with unknown. So if we want to fill the unknown names generally with unknown, so we are going to say df square brackets name dot fill now, then into brackets unknown. We want to fill it with unknown. Then comma in place equals true. So then we close the brackets. So let me run this now. So let's now check DF out again. So you can see I have filled it with unknown, and it's already showing that it is unknown. So if we should check DF null again, so let's check DF null. This place is showing 975 previously. So let me copy this and print it out here. So you can see 0 again. So I've already filled in the missing variable for name. And you saw here previously 975. So now another cleaning you can do in Python is, let's assume you want to rename a column. So renaming of column, if you want to rename the columns, so there's a function that is known as rename. So you are going to say df dot rename into columns. So I want to rename some columns like the name. So equal to Then I will make use of a curly bracket. Note it very well. A curly bracket. We've used a square bracket. We have used normal brackets, the normal brackets. This is a curly bracket. So I want to change the name column to customer name. Then, comma, I want to change the phone number, the phone column to customer phone number. I want to change the email, to customer email. Then I'm now going to close this curly brackets and put a comma and say that in place equal to true. So let me run it now. So let's now check our GF. So you can see that I have successfully I've been able to rename the customer name, customer email, customer phone number. And when you check previously here, we are only having name, we are having email, we are having phone, we are having age, and we are having address. That's what we are having there. So let's continue. Now, what if you now you are given, let's assume that you are now given you receive an email that for age that it should be grouped, that the ages should be grouped. So should be grouped into 1 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30, 31 to 40, 41 to 50, 51 to 60, and 61 to 100. So if you receive this kind of email, how do we go about that? So instead of us having age like this, they want you to group the age. So what we are going to do is we are going to define the bins and create labels for them. So define the bins and create labels for the age ranges. So how do we define the bins? So we say that bins, so our bins is going to consist of the initial number that we want it to start from. So now because this is 1 to 10, so we start from 0. Because this is 11 to 20, we say 10. This is 21 to 30, so we say 20. This is 31 to 40, we say 30. This is 41 to 50, we say 40. Then this is 51 to 60, so we say 50. And this is 61 to 100, we say 60. Then we have 100, which is the last, so we say 100. So that is going to form our bins. How do we come about the bins? I have explained it now. So then our labels, the labels is now going to be all these points that we have here. So that will be So we put into brackets 1 to 10. We put into quotes 1 to 10. Then in quotes, we put 11 to 20. Now, I do this a lot in my place of work because there are some things that requires us to group age. So that's why you need to master it very well. So into code 31 to 40, into code 41 to 50, into code 51 to 60, then 61 to 100. Then we close it like that. So let me run this now. So we have created the bins already. So we are now going to create a column for the age groups. So create a column for the age groups. So let's call the column age group. So we are going to say df age group equal to pd dot cut. So there's a function that is known as cut. Df, then we put this age, because that's the column that we want to divide. That's why we use cut. Let me tell you one of the good things about Python. So anytime you hear a function cut, or anytime you hear any function, the truth of the matter is that the way functions are labeled in Python is the what they perform. So for example, if you hear function sort, what it does is also sorting. If you hear function duplicates, drop duplicates, what it does is also to drop duplicates. So Python is like English language. So comma, we are going to say that beans equals to beans. That's why Python is simple, because all their functions is like English. It interprets what it does. So labels equals to labels, and we say right equal to true. Then I'll close the brackets. So let me run this now. So let's now print out df. You will see that it would have added an extra column, which is known as the age group. So you can see now I have an extra column here, and it has labeled it as what? Age group. You can see. So when you see 54, the name of this person is a fake data. The name of this person is Brandy Lester, and you see 54. And the age group is what? 51 to 60. Here you see 24, you see 21 to 30, you see 38, you see 31 to 40, and the likes like that. So let's now check. What if we want to know the number of counts? So we want to know the number of counts in each of the age groups. If we want to know the number of counts in each of the age groups, how do we go about that? So we are going to say that age group counts equal to df dot group by. So we are going to make use of a group by function. So group by, then we put into brackets age group. Then we close this and say dot size. Now size is a function as well. So like I said, anytime you hear a function, what it does is actually the naming. So the size here is we want to know each size of the age groups. That is, the accounts. That is what and that is what it does. So let me now print age group count now. You will see that it's going to show me the count. So we don't have anybody that is between the age of 1 to 10. We have people that are within the age of 11 to 20, 21 to 30, 31 to 40, 41 to 50, 51 to 60, and 61 to. So it looks like the highest age group in this data is between the age of 51 to 60. So if it's for an organization now, or if it's a customer data, that means their customers are between the age of 51 to 60. That's the highest. And that's what, now if you want to, that's what we are going to do next week. So we are going to make use of Seaborn and Matplot library to turn this into a data in which we are going to turn this into a chart rather. So we'll be able to visualize all these things. So like we did last week, so you can save this into CSV depending on whatsoever you want to do. So let me see if we have questions. Why do you always highlight before you? I don't highlight. You don't word very well. I don't highlight at all. Maybe you are talking about SQL, but in why did we use a curly bracket? Now we use a curly bracket because it's a list. That's why we use a curly bracket. So how do you determine the use of these types of brackets? That's a very good question. Now, if you are dealing with all these columns, if you are dealing with all these columns, let me show you. So if you are dealing with data frame, when you are dealing with data frame and you want to call out the data frame, always know that you are going to make use of a square bracket. So when you can see this now, look at this. When I want to call out the column, is a square bracket. But when I'm dealing with a function, now look at fill now. Every function must end with a bracket. So have that at the back of your mind. And that bracket is always the normal bracket. So you can look at it, mean is here now. But if you look at fill now, there is also a bracket there, which is the normal bracket. Now, where I used a curly bracket, this was where I used the curly bracket, is because I wanted to list. And that was why I used a curly bracket. So you can use a curly bracket with a dictionary. You can use in Python, you can use a curly bracket with a dictionary with something like this, because I am changing this name to customer name, changing this phone number to customer phone number. So as an assignment for you, go and read more about dictionary in Python. You will know what I mean by dictionary when you read more about it. I can send you materials to read more about it. Yeah, I have explained this, that what is the work of in place equals to true. So what we are saying in place equals to true is that the original data frame must stay the same. So if I say that in place equals to true, I'm saying that this customer email, which is Michael 48, must still be the customer phone number, which is 556. But if I don't put in place equals to true, it might mix, like there might be mixed up, because I'm even having missing number here. So it might not tally. All the rows will not tally well. But I'm saying in place equals to true so that it doesn't assign any other thing. Everything remains the same. All I just want is that if I'm replacing something, just replace what I want you to replace and let everything remains the same. So that's the meaning of in place equals to true. Okay, how do we combine all these tasks, all these skills together in a task? Let's say we got a job in a company and I understand each skills individually to an extent. I understand each skill individually to an extent. How do we combine both Python for a job task? Can we use anyone without combining them at once? Now, the thing is that it depends on where you are working. So, for example, where I was working previously, I use SQL a lot. I use SQL every day. I make use of SQL every day, make use of Python every day. I frequently, not every time, make use of Power BI, but I use Excel every day. That was where I was working previously. Now, so it depends on the task and depends on what the company wants at that particular time. And at the moment, in my current place of work, I make use of Python more and I use SQL as well, but less of Power BI. But I still use Power BI too. So it depends. It depends on where you are working, depends on the task. But another way in which Python, you can use Python to actually validate what you are doing. What do I mean by that? So for example, now that you can use Python or Excel to validate what you are doing. What do I mean by that? Now, you know that we did age for mean the other time. We did mean in age, that we did age, we did all the mean here. So to validate your answer, you can do it in Excel as well. I do that a lot in my place of work. So I will just look, that's two methods, just to validate that yes, what I've done is correct, or maybe there's an error or anything. So it depends on where you are working at as well. What if the actual name of those columns with NA were actually given? Is there a function to allocate different names to actual empty column at once? That was what I did. Now, let me tell you, in Python, now this data, NaN you are seeing here, is empty. But data frame will not show it as empty. If I open the data for you, the data is empty cell. It's an empty cell. Don't worry, I'm going to send you the data. The data is an empty cell. But when it is loaded into a data frame in Python, it's going to show as NaN. And that is the default, that it is empty. That's how it is showing on Python. So if I should open the data for you in Excel, you will see that there's no NaN there. I believe you get that now. So that's how you do it. How do we validate? Oh God. I used validation. What I mean by I don't understand what you mean by how do we validate. But what I'm saying is that let's assume that I want to do this task in Python because I feel like, okay, maybe it's my company's work and I want to do it in Python. And I have already, this age group that I'm talking about here, I've already divided them into age groups. So what I mean by validating is that I can do this exact task in Excel as well. I can do it in Excel as well. I can do this exact task even in Python as well, in Power BI as well. So validation that I mean is that, so for example, I will now compare how Python divides it. If I'm getting the same answer, you know that I got for 61 to 100, I got 2018. For 61 to 100, I got 2018. So when I now check Power BI, that's what I meant by validation. what is the result? Because I can do this exact same task in Power BI and in Excel as well. So I will do it in Excel and do it in Power BI to see and compare whether I'm getting the same answer. So that's what I meant by validation. I think I've mentioned, maybe I shouldn't have mentioned validation. All right. So how do we know when to use SQL, Power BI, big stacks? Most of the time, it will give you your company. Most companies have what they use, so you will know what to use at that particular time, and it comes naturally because the more you practice, the more you know. Yeah, I think you have understood what I meant by validation now. Yeah, we fill them in. I think what he meant was the way to find a particular empty cell. Okay, yeah, if you want to find a particular empty cell, last week I taught you how to pick just one row in Python, to fill just one row in Python. Last week I taught you how to, if we want to look for just one row in Python. So that's the exact same way you are going to do it. I'm not sure that was what he meant. He said empty cells, and NaN is also empty cells. I taught you the function iloc. That was what I taught you last week. I taught you the function iloc. If you have forgotten, I taught you iloc and lock. So if I want to df.lock, that's why I said, see, you need to keep practicing. I'm not going to force you to practice. If I want to know row 2 now, this is row 2. In it, this is row 2 now, Kel Smith. You can see Kel Smith. That is row 2. So it is from this row 2 now that you are going to fill in anything you want to fill in. Let me check the question again. We can use AI to do the task, especially when we are new to remote task job. What me I will say is that AI is not always is not 100%. It's not 100%. It's not 100% at all. So what me I will say is that limit the way you use AI. Limit that way you use AI. Let me go back to what the question you asked here. So if you look at this, Kel Smith, the customer phone number is empty. The customer phone number here is empty. So let's assume that I want to put the customer phone number there alone. Maybe that's what you are asking me. How do I go about that? Now, this is the way I'm going to go about it. So let me call it df.iloc. So let me make use of iloc. Then into brackets. 1. You know, 1 here is the row 2 that I'm looking at. 2. Then I will now say that what's the column in which I want to put there? The name of the column is customer phone number. So it's very easy. So if you want to be inputting it one by one, yes, you can do that if they are different. So into brackets, close the brackets, then equal to. So let me put the number as this. Let me just put any number there. So now let me run df now. Oh, sorry. Okay, is a na. Sorry, is a na. I didn't make use of fill na there. So that's why it's having error. So let me do it again. Let me just edit this. So df df into brackets customer phone number equal to, so let me redo it, df into brackets customer phone number dot let me try this. If this dot fill now, fill now. Oh, what this will do is to fill in everything. You know, I'm coming. Let me run this. Yeah, I don't want any. So let's do it again. So that will be df dot lock. Let me use df dot lock. So df dot lock, then one, because we are is row one, then the column is customer address, customer phone number, then close it. Then I will now say that equal to df dot lock one customer phone number if okay, let me close this. If pd dot not now df dot lock, then open this one customer phone number, then close this. Yeah, I think I did. df dot lock one customer phone number equals to df dot lock one customer age. Okay, so let me just make use of the fill now. So dot fill now. So let me just put it as this. Let me just put any number there. df dot lock. This should actually work. Why is it giving error? Incompatible index. Just a minute. Let me check it very well. df dot lock. Okay. One. Yes. I think it has worked now. So let me now run it now. Now you can see that it is there now. So now the reason why it was giving error because I didn't put this in a square bracket before. Now you can see that Even me, when I'm coding, when I try it doesn't work. So it comes by practice. But because I know the rules, however, when you don't practice and practice, there's no how you will know. So when I saw the error that is bringing out, I know that yes, this should be the one, which is a row, should be in a square bracket. Now, if I want to fill the NA here for customer phone number, you know the row here is 9995. If I want to fill it with another number, all I need to do is to copy this and change this one to 9995. So I will change this one to 9995, 9995, and now fill it with another number so that you will see that it's going to be different from that. So let me now run DF now. So you can see it has filled it with another number. And when you come up here, you see what? None. So all these things comes by practice. Use more of Google instead of AI. If you want to fill in 20 and they are different numbers, yes, you are going to fill it one by one. But if they are the same, then you use the first method I taught you and just put in everything together. I taught you how to put in everything together at once. But if they are different numbers, like I just demonstrated now, then you have to do it one by one. So should we limit your AI usage? Yes, limit AI usage, but use more of Google instead of AI. Use more of Google instead of AI. And some of you that, okay, any material, I will give you some materials that you can watch, that you that you can go and read about on Python, which will help you. Now, let me tell you how I fixed errors and how I become expert in it. There is this website known as Overflow and Overflow, Stack, and all those things. Now, when I have errors, when I was a learner, then I used to experience error, I will copy that error and put it on Google. It's going to lead me to Overflow Stack. And I will read about that error and also learn some things, because the error you are experiencing, somebody have experienced it before. So when you see an error, just put it on Google and you will be able to know how to solve it. And you will see different ways in which to solve it. So when there is no error you want to encounter on Python that somebody has not encountered it previously. So that's why I encourage people that use less of AI and use more of Google. So let me go over what we've done today. So when I started, I said we want to clean. So we use duplicates. We use the duplicate function. We use the is null to look at the functions that were the columns that were null. We use the drop now to drop every column that was null. And we use the min and the fill now function to fill in the missing now. So this is here. Because I want to fill with min, so I fill everything with min. That's how to do it. And the second one I did with name, I fill everything with what? With unknown. But if I want to fill them with different things, then I have to do them one by one like this, like I've done this. Customer phone number for this, and also customer phone number for this, if I want to fill them separately. So take note of that. Because they are different, that's how you are going to do it. And so you have to do it one by one. And that was why I taught you how to know each column previously. And we also look at the count of each of the groups as well. We also look at that, the count of each of the groups. And we changed the name. We changed the names of the columns as well. So don't worry, I'll try and give you some materials and I will send it to the Telegram group. I will start and give you some materials. I hope I've answered every question. So bear with me. The YouTube, the video will be on YouTube on Fairly tomorrow. After every lesson on Jupyter dots and saving it, but after coming back, I'm not sure. Maybe it's your system. Or my own doesn't do like that, or it doesn't scatter. But of course, you have to run it again. But my own doesn't do like that. It doesn't scatter. So I'm going to see you in the next class next week. So thank you so much for joining, and I will see you next week.